Hey guys, welcome to the LT Brings the Heat podcast. We're your hosts, Sean Laird and Adam Heisler, where we talk about baseball and sports performance. With topics ranging from coaching, business, and player development, our goal is to bring you a no BS approach to development in baseball and sports performance. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's rock and roll. Hey guys, welcome to the episode of LT Brings the Heat. We're your hosts, Sean Laird and Adam Heisler. We got some topics today. Me and Adam were actually just talking about covering right before we hopped on. This is going to be fluid. This is going to be straight from the head and straight from the mind. We kind of talked about this. We saw some things online about people and parents struggling with their kids' mindsets, basically like a champion mindset. I saw some guy kind of talking about it that looked like the type of person that I see right through. I know Adam sees right through, and we're going to kind of address who to listen to and kind of advise who to take advice from, because that's a big deal for us, is making sure the advice you're getting is from somebody that's actually been there, done that, helped build athletes.
Definitely. One other thing we want to get to for our next topic, we want to talk about just kind of what the mindset's supposed to be. So Sean, whether it's in the weight room, it's on the field, like what would you say a champion mindset would be? I mean, we both go back to the Jordan documentary and you see how a leader he was, and his mindset was different than anybody's. Tom Brady just won another Super Bowl. Like his mindset is way different than everybody else's. What is it about a mindset that can take you to that next level?
Absolutely. So I saw a poll on Facebook the other day about, and this poll is like, what is the number one thing the athlete struggles with, you as or your athlete struggle with, or as a coach, you struggle coaching and teaching? And they had a bunch of options, and mindset, like you were just saying, it was the number one thing that people said they had problem coaching or teaching or implementing in their son as a parent. And I am going to be really blunt here, as I like to be, and be straightforward here. As a mindset, a champion mindset is something that has to be created through trials and tribulations, through adversity and hardships in life. If everything is always easy, like if your life is really smooth and, you never really have a lot of adversity, and you could sit here and say, there's a lot of people say, well, everybody's adversity and everybody's, trials and tribulations are different with everybody. Some people take things a lot harder than other people. Some people don't. And while that is 100% true, we've got to understand that confidence is built, and that champion mindset is built through going through hard trials and tribulations and succeeding through those hard trials and tribulations. And I will say the number one thing that parents, that I see parents screw up and mess up, and I'm a parent too, obviously of three, there's things I screw up with, but parents are trying too hard to make things easier for their kids, to save them emotionally, and trying to save emotional trauma. And they're trying to make things too easy, as opposed to allowing them to fail, or allowing them to have this, maybe they're going to fail today because they didn't prep for this game, or not putting them in situations where they're going to fail. And this is what I'll say the most is, like, parents, you are obviously number one when it comes to building the champion mindset in your kids. Coaches, you would be number two, maybe number three, with the kids and people that they surround themselves with is probably number two, and the coach would be three. But this is what I'm going to say right here is, as a parent, you had those hard things in life. I want you to sit back and look about the hardships you had and what you got out of those. And you can look at every single thing that you went through in life and see, okay, well, this made me this made me that. This allowed me to have this type of mindset. This allowed me to learn this and be able to conquer this part in my life. I think people fall in love with the fact of, like, well, I'm going to give my kids the opportunities that I never have. And people say that all the time. And while I agree, we need to put them in opportunities, I think that gets misconstrued with, I'm not going to allow my kids to struggle. I'm not going to allow my kids to be uncomfortable. And I think uncomfortable is the number one word here when it comes to building a champion mentality. And Michael Jordan talked about it. I made my teammates uncomfortable. I got on my teammates hard. I held them to a higher level. Tom Brady, as you saw, him and Tyrann Mathieu got into it on the field. I heard reports that he apologized. I hope that's not true, but if it is true, it is what it is. But that's two guys going to war in between the lines. I guarantee outside the lines, they're not going to take that personal unless they have some insecurities. Like Tyrann Mathieu tweeted something and deleted it. if that's the route he wanted to go, that's the route he wanted to go. But, saying that Tom Brady, maybe he did apologize. Okay. Well, it shows he's a bigger man. He can say something to somebody and put them in their place and turn around and say, hey man, I didn't mean anything personal by it. It's just, the nature of the beast. It's the warrior in me that wants to get after it and fight for a W. But if you listen to these guys talk and you listen to these guys, like I listened to Tom Brady one time talk at the University of Michigan and talk about, like, I was in the same seats as you guys. I was going to the same hallways as you guys. I never got a shot, coming out of high school. I had to work for everything I had. The reason Tom Brady is because nobody gave a shit about him out of high school. He had to work all through college just to get some reps in. I can't even remember where he was in the chart and when he didn't get playing time until I believe his senior year or something like that. And it was part-time, if that. And then again, he had to go over. I don't know if Drew Bledsoe is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he was in the league. Is he in the Hall of Fame, Adam?
No.
So Drew Bledsoe was a phenomenal quarterback, and Tom Brady beat him out of that job and led them to their first Super Bowl over the Rams, I believe. I think it was like 2000, 2001 or something like that. All of these trials and tribulations and him having to conquer these huge forks in the road made him who he is. And you can go back talking about Michael Jordan, not making his high school varsity basketball team as a freshman, getting cut or whatever. People transfer in their heads, the parents transfer in their heads that giving kids opportunities means, giving their children opportunities means not allowing them to fail or go through hardships. And I'm purposely going to put my kids into training environments that's going to be hard. I'm purposely going to put them in sports that's going to be hard, that they're unfamiliar with. I'm purposely going to put them in situations where they are insecure, where they don't want to be there. And I'm a firm believer in that you have to be in these situations. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm from Indiana. I went down to South Alabama to play college baseball. I showed up as a top recruit and I was injured. I couldn't play my first year. As basically first year and a half, I was out. I had to do a lot of bitch work. And I was just talking to Adam about this before the game. And there were certain people that tried to belittle me, certain people that I still to this day do not care for. Have I forgiven them for that stuff? Absolutely. But do I use that stuff as motivation? Do I use that stuff to light a fire underneath me? 100%. Any bad thing that's happened to me in my life or anything that was done to me, I go back to that still as a 34-year-old man and go, this is going to make me better. This is going to help me. And all the trials and tribulations that I went through that first year there with the injuries, and I had 7 out of 8 doctors tell me to pick a different profession, and I was never going to play another game again. And I said, screw that. And I finally got to the point where no PTs were helping me. And I researched myself and figured out how to make myself stronger now. My lower back, my core so strong where I wasn't going to get hurt again. And I was able to play, obviously, and thank God I was able to play those 4 years at South. But if I wouldn't have had that injury, I wouldn't be running and Laird's training like I am now. I firmly believe that. All the injuries that I had, I wouldn't be helping, these wrestlers, these baseball players that have back injuries, all these people that have had these injuries, or I wouldn't understand the body the way that I do now. It's literally made me who I am. My dad waking me up at 5 a.m. when I was in 8th grade, taking me to school to go lift, or to the YMCA to go lift. And then I would walk to class. Like, how many 14-year-olds are doing that? And I'm not sitting here like people are just, oh, Laird's bragging about himself. No, I'm not trying to get out of that. What I'm trying to get at is, if I can do it, anybody that's listening can do this. Anybody can do this. I only can speak on my experience, which is why I'm bringing these things up. But, that champion mindset is built through these tough times. It's built through these 5 a.m. workouts. It's built to, struggling. Maybe Coach Adams got this guy on the pitching, the hack attack, and he swings and misses 30 reps in a row. He's got tears in his eyes. He's struggling, and Adam's going to do what he does best. He's going to help coach this guy, build this guy up. And then 2, 3, 4 weeks later, 2, 3, 4 months down the road, this kid's hammering the pitches that he struggled with. Would that kid be able to hammer that if his parent was like, hey, Adam, he struggled today. We're not going to come anymore, man. He swung at this 30 times. This is probably just isn't for him. Hell no. Like, that kid had to go through this, and you have to have mentors in life like Coach Adam, like your parents, obviously, and people that help push you and get you comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because that champion mindset, I'll end with this, and Adam, you can kind of take over here, but that champion mindset it is 100% built on the things you don't want to do. You have to do things that make you feel, man, can I really do this? Man, like, am I gonna, like, if I do this right here, is this even gonna work? Like, yes, you have to. Like, I use the example with guys in the weight room all the time for guys that hitting. If you showed up in the weight room with me, would you be able to squat 400 pounds your first day of lifting? The answer is hell no. So why do you expect to have the perfect swing and be able to hit 95 mph immediately? It's not going to happen. You have to build up to that. You have to train. You have to fail. You have to build your body. You have to build your mind. And building your mind is part of that. Like, the only way to build your mind isn't through, sunshine and rainbows, as Rocky Balboa says. You have to go through those storms in life to build that champion mindset. So my advice to parents is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, put them in multiple sports, put them in sports they're not familiar with. Maybe you want them to teach them how to learn to defend themselves. Maybe you put them in jujitsu. Maybe you're putting them in strength training at a young age. My daughter's playing t-ball this year, so I'm super pumped about that. Is she going to struggle? Yeah. Can you take a wild guess? All the parents think they're going to show up and be like, oh man, this is Laird's daughter. She's supposed to drop bombs, and she might struggle, and she probably will at certain times. And I want her to, because she's going to realize that I can't take the approach that I want to take, hitting or whatever. She's going to learn at 4 or 5 years old that you have to put in work in order to get results. And so I'll kind of leave it with that, Adam, and let you take over from there about this. But the champion mindset, confidence, these things are a big deal to me, because there are people that talk down about people being cocky. There are people that talk down about others because they don't like their attitudes and stuff like that. And these are people that talk down, that don't have confidence in themselves, that look in the mirror at the end of the night, and they hate themselves. I don't like it, especially nowadays. Everybody's making an opinion on how people should think and how people should feel. When it comes to, like, don't ever let anybody tell you that you're too confident in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't think that you can do anything, or like that you're too cocky. Now, saying that, you should never be condescending to other people. If somebody is trying to be better at something, you need to lift them up. If somebody's trying to talk down to you, then you can put them in their place. But there's a lot of people nowadays that struggle with confidence, and they're trying to tell kids how they should feel and how their confidence should be. Listen to people that have actually been through it and have started from the bottom and built themselves from the top. But I mean, kind of what's your feel on that, Adam?
Yeah, this is my opinion, is the biggest separator in the elite players from the good players is just what the mindset is. And oftentimes it gets overlooked because we're also worried about talent, and talent is super important. I'm not saying that, but what separates good from great is how competitive are you? Can you handle failure? What is your mindset when you do fail? How do you bounce back from it? And I think in this day and age, so many where parents and society were built in, I'll use the transfer portal as an analogy. We're so ready to leave when something doesn't go our way. And we see this happen in travel ball. We see this happen in high school and college football. You're seeing it happen. One credit I want, Mac Jones, the quarterback at Alabama. He stayed. He did his time. He got there with Jalen Hurts. He got there with Tua. He was third string. Could he have left and started at Kentucky or somewhere? Of course. But he didn't. He fought through it, and look what just happened. He took his team to a national championship. He's going to be a first-round draft pick this year, and he wouldn't be there right now, I'm telling you, if he wouldn't have left and went and took the easy way out. And so what we're trying to tell you parents and players is, like, you have to learn that failure is part of everything you're going to do in life. So Kobe Bryant said it, you either win or you learn. There is no losing. You're going to learn from it. If you always win in everything, you never learn anything. And you can tell those people that face adversity for the first time, when they're used to being spoon-fed or being used to have everything go their way, how they handle it, because they want to quit right away and go do something else because this is too hard. Yep. And so that's why any day of the week, I know myself and Sean would both take the guy, hey, what is your past about? When we would interview a player, say we're both scouts for MLB, we're both going to sit down with this player and ask him, what was the hardest part of your life? Tell us. Like, maybe you grew up without a father. Maybe you grew up in a bad home. Like, tell us what makes you you. And if a guy says, oh, nothing, my life's perfect, that's probably a guy we're going to steer away from, because he's never failed at anything. So when he does, he's going to freak out because he doesn't know how to handle it. So give us the ones that have tough upbringing. Give us the ones that have made mistakes and they're getting a second chance. Nick Saban talks about it all the time. People give him a hard time because he gives guys second chances when they make a mistake. It's part of it. It's life. We all make mistakes. But do you learn from it, or do you get shamed because you made one mistake when you're 20 years old that everybody's going to look at you different now? No, we always talk about we're built on giving people second chances. So it's the same thing. If the second chance. When you do make that mistake, learn from it though. That's the biggest thing is don't always just say, yes, sir. Like if Coach Sean's getting on to you, yes, sir. No, you're not. Don't say that because you're not paying attention to what's going on. Learn from the mistake that you just made. And then now that's how you can fix it. I think to take the easy way out, everybody's just taught, hey, be polite with your coaches. Yes, sir. No, sir. Stuff like that. No, actually pay attention because when we have conversations with you, it's much more and much deeper than just, hey, we've got to get you to get 3 hits today. No, a lot of our stuff is going to be about way more in-depth stuff. And we talk about it all the time as we're life coaches here. And mindsets are a huge part of that. And so if you're one of these that a parent and you're seeing your kids struggle, that's fine. Like just sit back and relax. Maybe he plays this whole spring season and he just moved up to kid pitch. He was a coach pitch, now he's kid pitch, and he is really struggling. Oh, well, I'd much rather him struggle now than later on in life because everything's been handed to him, so to speak. So if you're on this travel team and it doesn't go your way this year, don't just leave because you didn't get to play shortstop. Wonder why you didn't get to play shortstop. Maybe the kid was better than you. Parents, sometimes take your goggles off and look at it just like you're a coach. Look at it from far away. So with my stepson Jake, we just took him to a tryout on Sunday, and it was so cool just to sit back and say, hey, buddy, this is on you. Like, I got nothing to do with this. Like, nobody knows I'm your stepfather. Nobody knows we're here today. Like, you're at a new park and everything. Just go out there and show out. And it was so cool to see him have that success and confidence that I don't know any of these people, but I'm going to go do my thing. And then people are going to understand, oh, it's all about this kid. It's not about who maybe his dad was, or there wasn't anything set up behind it, because so many parents, we try to pave the way for our kids instead of letting everything happen. And I think that happens even in the recruiting world in college baseball right now is all these kids are so worried about D1 or bust mentality. And it's such a wrong way to look at it because every single path is different for everybody. We mentioned Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the second string team and freshman in high school on an 0-10 team. He was second string. He didn't even get to play. And he's a freshman. This is a freshman team, and he's backup. And so he still talks about that to this day. When he got to Michigan, he was seventh string. He worked his way up to it. He finally didn't get that full job till his senior year, and then it got taken away from him. And then when he goes to the Patriots, everybody assumes it's the coach. So now he's driven this year to, hey, I'm going to win without my coach. So I promise you next year, there's going to be something that he stirs up and says, somebody told me I couldn't do this at this age. So this is what I'm going to prove them wrong with this year. And those are the ones that are just built different. And we talk about it. You can see people going around on hashtags, built different. Like that's what is built different is don't tell me you're waking up and just grinding in the morning. No, that's not it. It's what did you overcome in your life that made you succeed to where you're at now? Or if you're going through that adversity right now, how are you going to get out of it? How are you going to respond to this? Because I promise you, if you quit now, you're going to quit on everything the rest of your life. And you're going to look always to try to find the easy way out. When me and Sean both started businesses, this is scary as heck because we live day to day. We don't know what's going to happen with our businesses, but we do this on the faith of God, number one, but then also number two, we feel like we're really good at what we do. And this is our purpose to be here is to coach these young athletes to face adversity, to overcome failure, to deal with injuries, to deal with struggling, deal with learning how to hit a breaking ball, like all this other stuff that goes into it. That's why we've been able to be successful in our business standpoint, because we took a chance and a leap, but all of our adversity we faced as players set us up for this moment. And so now that's how we can really respond. And we still go through stuff these days. We text back and forth about different things popping up. Life isn't always, it's not like you said, it's not always rainbows. It's not always going to be easy. When time gets tough, let's figure out what's going on and how we can fix this or how we can kind of develop and solve the problem. That's more importantly, most is solving the problem that happens right in front of you. So that was my rant on the championship mindset. And I think just to take away from anything from that is just think about the transfer portal and don't just automatically assume you're going to go in a different direction. Or even if it's in school and you're not having success making the grades you want to make. Well, what's going on? Is it because your teacher stinks? That's probably what a lot of people say. Well, maybe why are you the only one struggling in there? Maybe you got to look yourself in the mirror and understand, hey, I used to not study, but now high school's kind of getting hard. I need to study a little bit. This is what I need to do. And admit that you're not doing you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Now we can try to overcome that.
Yeah. And that's all good stuff. And you were rolling there. And immediately maybe just thought of this as you were talking. And the biggest factor for those that are listening that affects the champion mindset is the ego. Like that is by far, I would 100% the number one factor that affects a champion mindset. Because if you let your ego get in the way of things, and this is for the parents and the actual player too, if you let your ego get in the way of things that you don't have to put in the work, you shouldn't have to be struggling right now, or your son shouldn't be struggling because they did this and they did that. They should already be prepared for this situation. It's very egotistical. It's very condescending toward life. And to me, God, to sit there and say that just because your kid is doing hitting lessons, that he should be the best player in the world right now, or just because your kid's lifting right now, he should be the best player in the world right now. And I see it all the time with parents is, every parent wants their kid to be successful and wants to be the best kid on the field. Every kid or every parent wants their kid to be the smartest kid in class. Is that really going to happen? No, unless you're that one kid, right? Unless that you're that one parent. And to me, I watch the parents' egos and try to live through the kids way too much. And like, well, if my kid is being successful, that means I'm a successful parent. Mm-hmm. And I can't stress enough right now that those two do not correlate. Just because your kid is successful at life, I have met some huge turds that are very successful and tear it up on the field, and they're absolutely not where they should be as a young man. Parents the same way. With the Indiana Bulls and training kids at that level, you run into some parents that have a complete white collar, different attitude. Like, hey, you owe me. You should be doing these things for me. And they're setting their kids up for failure. And I will say this, as a parent, if you're watching your kid struggle on the field, if you're seeing your kid struggle at something that he's doing, what you need to do is you need to sit there and in your head, you need to say good. As hard as it's going to be, you need to say good. And why do you need to say good? Because your kid has a situation, whether you're seeing it in that situation in that moment right now or not, he has a chance to say, do I want this to continue, or do I want to get better? Or do I want to be better than these kids I'm playing against? And too often, when your ego's getting in the way and you're trying to live through the successes of your children, parents get very irritated. They get very mad. They start playing the blame game. They start pointing fingers and stuff. And at the end of the day, it's your job to help build the champion mindset of that kid. If he's struggling, you tell him what he needs to do, or tell her what he needs to do. Or if you don't know, you ask questions and you find out what you do need to know. Because there's a lot of people, like I was saying before, like they get in the way and they're trying to teach young men and women how to build confidence, and they have no idea themselves. And I will say this, I'll kind of close out from this part here. If somebody is telling you that you can have a champion mindset, or you can be, confident in everything you do without trials, tribulations, and most importantly, without putting in the hours and putting in the work, they are full of it. And I saw this poll, the poll that I was talking about earlier, and I clicked on the guy that started the poll, and he was trying to sell something. He was trying to sell his own stuff, trying to sell a book, which I no problem with. If somebody wants to sell their business, go for it. But I saw on his page, hey, get bigger, faster, stronger, and reach your performance, your peak performance without spending countless hours in the gym. And I read that and I go, this guy's full of shit. This guy's a snake oil salesman. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if there's anybody that tells you that you could become elite, you can become better, you can grow, and you can have confidence that is never wilting, it's not affected by failure, they're full of it. They have no idea. They never perform at the highest levels. And I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody says you can do something without hard work, they're always lying to you. If your parents say that you deserve something and you know that you didn't work hard to it, they're lying to you. As a parent, if you're telling your kid that they should be tearing it up on the field, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, and you know they didn't put 100% effort into it, you're lying to them. You have to be honest with your kids. And I think that's the one thing is being honest with people. I try to always be honest and upfront with people. I have 100% certainty that parents know if they ask me a question, I'm going to be honest with them. Hey, is my son behind? Yes, he's behind. Hey, is my son good enough to play this level? Yes, but these things need to be improved. We have to be honest, because that honesty, and you can use any kind of method you want. Be honest with them and hit them with the hard stuff, but you got to build upon their strengths. If you have a kid that works really hard, you really are not going to have much to worry about. But if you have a kid that's very passive in life, you have a kid that doesn't want to put in the work, you have to be upfront and honest with him where he's going to end up being if he's not working on the things that he's struggling with. If he wants to be that Division I baseball player, if he wants to be, if he wants to go to Harvard or go to the Notre Dame or go to some elite school, just because you're smart doesn't necessarily mean you can hack it. I can name a ton of people that were a lot smarter than me in high school that are struggling nowadays. I can name a ton of people that were a lot more talented than certain other players that I saw that aren't playing anymore. And the players that weren't as talented them at that level are still playing. There's so many factors that go into a champion mindset. And what you've got to allow yourself to do is check your ego at the door. As a parent, allow your kid to fail. Don't live through their successes or their failures. Help them, guide them through that process. And most importantly, work hard, put the hours in, and understand that this is not an easy thing and it never will be easy. At the end of the day, if your son goes through these failures and is able to conquer these failures, that champion mindset will be built. And that champion mindset that they build from the successes, from the adversities, that's going to allow them to be a better person in life. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what's most important, because our name gets called in the game of baseball sometime. Maybe it's 22 years old, maybe it's 18 years old, maybe it's 34 years old. When that gets over, we have to live in the real world, and we cannot let our entire personality and our entire being and our entire character be built around one thing. It has to be built around what makes ourselves, product of a society that builds people up and makes people better around them. And I'm a big believer of that 100%.
Yep. You got to figure out what drives you. And for those out there, a slogan I always like to use is just the separations and the preparations. So guys that are getting ready to start their seasons, you're going to know very quickly, like if you're prepared for the season, you have nothing to worry about. Go out and have fun. Like now's the time just to ball out because you've already put in the hard work. Will you have bad games? Of course, it's part of baseball. But those that are late to the party, that didn't take it serious this offseason, that didn't do the strength conditioning, weren't on a throwing program, weren't hitting every day, you're about to see how much you're about to handle this failure that's coming your way because you're not ready, and it's going to slide you downhill. And then you're going to be too late coming back asking for help, so to speak. So you're about to find out very quickly all the hard work you put in for those out there that we believe that we have that come through our facility. Like now is the time, not even worry about mechanics anymore. It's just ball out, go out, have fun, have the championship mindset of I'm the baddest person on this field right now. And if that pitcher gets me out, he got me out because he was lucky. I'm going to get him again next time. That's the mindset that you have been building since you first started training this offseason to get ready for your open tonight, and you're going to carry that on throughout the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that you hit the nail on the head right there that, even with the failure, you're still saying to yourself, I'm going to get this guy next time. I'm better than this guy. And that's one thing that's looked upon because everybody wants to say, oh, we're all equal. Everybody's the same talent. Everybody's the same mindset. No, like you treat other people the way you want to be treated. You treat other people with respect and you build other people up. But inside your head, you're better than that pitcher. You're better than that guy across from you. You're trying to get that guy out. You want to see your friends. You want to see other people eat at the table. You want to see them tear it up, but you want to tear it up more. And that's the mindset you got to have. And somebody gets you one time, you're going to get them next time. And again, that confidence to be able to do that is built through if you can go through something that is hard and you struggled at something and you conquered it, you use that like, well, if I can conquer this, I can conquer this guy. Like if I conquer this, I can conquer this problem. That right there is why that failure is so important in life. But I think we can end it right here, Adam. Might be able to turn this into probably 2 episodes here for the guys too, to kind of understand and kind of keep the flow that we had right there. Is there anything else you want to roll in and add in here at the end?
No, that was great stuff. And I think more than anything, just remember that champion mindset is what separates the great from the good players right there. So parents, the same exact thing, is just always push the kids to be better and let them learn how to fail. Let them learn in life. Kids, when that young age is, you're taught not to touch hot things. But how do you learn that? You do it on accident. You touch it and then you never touch it again because you know it's hot. So It's okay, parents, for these kids to make mistakes. They just have to learn from them. That way they fix them later on in life.
Absolutely. And guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys leave that 5-star review if you enjoyed it. Make sure you guys share that podcast, get it out there. We want to help as much as we can. I do want to build into some confident stuff here in the future, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit more examples of how you can kind of build that mindset in the future. But if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys leave that 5-star review again. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.